With
Special guests throughout the season. It's all brought to you by Berger Chevrolet, the official Chevy dealer of GVSU Athletics. Let's head on out to Main Street Pub in Allendale. Here's Steve Lloyd-Jones.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome into our show once again. Great to have you with us. The Lakers 3-0 as Grand Valley downs Black Hills State this past Saturday night, 48-36 the final. Grand Valley with 2 home games through their first 2 weeks. And now on to the road for the first time this year. That's going to be coming up on Saturday. We'll talk about that, of course. Got Wooster alongside. And, Coach, who are we going to talk to tonight?
Yeah, so Laker alum, Coach Studdard, special teams coordinator, running back coach. Played some really, really good special teams. Running backs are off to a phenomenal start this year. So Coach Studdard will be here, and then senior running back Zion Usma Harper will join us for the player segment.
Very nice. Yeah, your offense, a lot of points, a lot of yardage there. We'll get into all of that as we go tonight. But talking special teams, running backs, offensive flair a little bit for our program this evening. And then, of course, that road trip that you're going to make to Pittsburgh State Saturday, the 5 o'clock kick out of the MIAA. Had been part of the region over the last few years, but not a part now. And so to play that game, and that's going to be a heck of a first road game for you guys.
Oh, yeah, you talk about road game. Obviously, the opponent. It's such a cool when this opportunity came along. Obviously, we were struggling with the schedule, right?
Yeah.
And this came along right at the end of December, early January. Really looking for week 0, week 2, these weeks right here, and then this one. Coach or Jim Johnson, their athletic director, was open to the series to play in. So we wanted to jump on it for a variety of reasons. We played them in 23 in the playoffs. Heck of a football game, incredible football game, back and forth. And when you look at the history of Division II, Grand Valley State, number 1 winning percentage all time, right? Pitt State, number 1 overall win. So you got the 2 number 1, 2 best programs historically in Division II. Playing, week 2 in the non-conference. It's just that part's exciting. Then you say, okay, road game, the jungle, right? Kearney Smith Stadium.
It's crazy.
Kansas, yeah, it's going to be 90 degrees, 65% humidity. So, you start combining some of those factors. They're 0-2 right now. They're not an 0-2 football team. Preseason, they lost to the number 1. Preseason, number 3 preseason, and now they got number 5 preseason coming in. So it's not an 0-2 football team, but you're going on the road. Awesome environment in Kearney Smith Stadium, the jungle. And, so a lot of factors at play here, and it's extremely exciting week, and we can't wait for this opportunity.
Yeah, going to be fun to break that all down for you here tonight. We'll review the big win Saturday over Black Hills State, talk with Jacob Studdard, the special teams and running backs, and Zion Usma Harper, the running back with us on the show tonight. All ahead as the GVSU Football Weekly Report gets started after this on the Grand Valley Sports Network.
Main Street Pub in Allendale on the Grand Valley Sports Network.
Great to be with you once again, everybody. The show brought to you in part by Nawara Brothers Home Store, bringing you top name brands at low prices, and by Earhart Construction, the official construction company of the Grand Valley Sports Network. Steve Lloyd-Jones, head coach Scott Wooster, back with you as the Lakers 2-0 with wins in the first couple of weeks at home, and now we'll go on the road this coming Saturday for the first time. But we're going to look back first of all. 48-36, Lakers get it done. Lynn Weichel, that touchdown, one of 3 catches for him on the night, 99 total yards. Whole lot of passing offense in this one, Coach. 48-36. It was we were describing it through the first half, a little choppy for you. As the second half went, both teams going back and forth at each other. A lot of good performances from both teams in this.
Oh, no question. And the tip of the cat to Black Hills, tip of the hat to Black Hills State. And that quarterback, I thought, performed at extremely, extremely high level.
He did.
You know, and there's a couple plays in there. I was going back and watching, doing some self-scout on it, and just watching him and his mannerisms, right? Like pre-snap, and they're not a clap. We do the clap cadence, but he just kind of be standing there, just kind of slump shoulders, ready to go, catch that ball. And, you know, he seemed really, really cool, really, really poised, made some big plays. But, yeah, really, really proud of our guys and this football team. Love who we're becoming. There was times in that football game that for some potential fracture, going down 0-10, right? A team that felt like, all right, if we played really, really well, you know, get a great start on these guys, and we didn't do that. So there was multiple opportunities for a little fracture early, a little finger pointing, some of those things, and we didn't do that. So we played together, and I thought we played extremely hard the entire night. Now, did we play really smart? No. From an execution standpoint, from some things that we had done better in week 0 throughout camp. So, but you know, you described the choppiness of it, right? The special teams piece of it. Some described it as special teams giveth and taketh away, right? There were some great plays made from a special teams standpoint, and then some massive mistakes that we made. Special teams getting the punt blocked, giving up a kickoff return, but then quite a few of those kickoffs were downed inside the 15, right? Mm-hmm. And we blocked a punt for a touchdown. So just the back and forth action of the special teams, and then of the football game too, right? Go down 10-0. We got Scion here tonight, and Schuster finds him out in the flat, gets the first down. You know, we go 3 and out with a strip sack on the first possession. So for him to come in there and make that play and really get the ball rolling, then Schuster has a great plan, the sprint out or the roll out to Kellen, and then get the ball in the end zone, like we just said to LJ. So a lot of opportunities that kind of could have, you know, pointed some fingers and fractured a little bit, but we stayed together. And the positive of that is playing in that type of game early in the season, just to see the response to those things. And a lot of situations came up that maybe wouldn't have came up in a 48-9 like the week 0 game, right? So excited about what this football team's like becoming, and but we got to play a heck of a lot smarter.
Well, you know, you and I talking a couple of weeks ago, in fact, on the touring show, how you had a little bit of that in the scrimmage. Remember how that adversity kind of came up, and you were like, I want to see how this is handled. Yep. And so you worked through it a bit. What is said on the sideline in those times? You're down 10-0. There's a ton of game time to go yet, but things aren't working. What is said? No,
you brought up the perfect spot there, because in the scrimmage we turned the lights on. Offensively, we gave up a sack and a pick early. Yeah. And then the ball just kind of started rolling, not in the right direction. Offensively, defensively, seized that momentum in that scrimmage and really got it going. And there was opportunities for that, right? A strip sack right out the gate, put the defense in a bad spot, like we said, go down 10-0. And I think from a leadership standpoint, the growth that we've had from January to August, but now in these first couple weeks, Sion's here tonight, a great leader for us. And I don't, you know, saying, yeah, let's respond, let's, you know, stay cool, all those things, right? But that's one thing, but then to go make the play is another, right? And for number 2 to go out there, you know, the first pass attempt he had was stripped out of his hand, right? And then to go out there and start making those plays, you know, action means a lot more than words, right? And to go out and make those plays, that's some that's some veteran stuff that we're seeing out of a redshirt freshman, and obviously everybody around him. But at that position to make those plays on that drive meant a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Grand Valley was down 10-0 about midway through the first quarter. Then you rattle off 20 in a row. So you go into half,
right,
up 20-10, and then the second half was back and forth, absolutely crazy as you went. But offensively, how did you feel? I mean, you put up a bunch of points in yardage. How did you feel like you played in this one overall?
Not us, and again, threw the ball with extreme efficiency and explosion. The trouble was we couldn't establish the line of scrimmage and couldn't run the ball the way we need to run the ball. Now, we get an 11 personnel. We talked about this a little bit last week, the one tight end, one back, three wide receiver set. And they were going to outnumber us. They were going to say that it's going to be very difficult to run the ball, right? They had their boundary safety, kind of a four-cheat robber position. They were playing their field outside linebacker. We call him a lot of times the nickel linebacker. He was really tight to the box. So essentially it was an 8-man box, and we've got 6 blockers. And they were, daring us to throw it. And then number 2 and number 7 and number 1 and number 0 and those guys said, okay, you want to dare us to throw it, we'll do that. But we get into 12 personnel, some of the 2 tight end sets, and we even up the numbers, and we still didn't establish the line of scrimmage and run the football the way we need to run the football. So went to work on that. And I think as you watch the tape, give them a ton of credit. 99 played a heck of a game for them. Defensive tackle. Yeah. And they were aggressive and they were physical and all that. But we weren't playing hard. We weren't physical. It was again, that play smart, right? We were on our assignments. We just some of the details of the run game, some of the details of protection as well. We weren't ourselves. So, 391 yards through the air. We ended up ripping a really nice pin and pull. Pascal Jolman got in the end zone with that. But outside of that run, there wasn't a ton of the runs that we need to have.
Yeah, Grand Valley ends up for the game with 44 yards on the ground. Some of that with some sack yardage, of course, it factors in. But Andrew Schuster, the GLIAC Offensive Player of the Week, throws for 22 of 32 for 391 yards, 4 TDs. He had some amazing throws. Spread the ball around as usual, but just, showed again great touch and accuracy.
Well, and then you look at the variety of throws too, right? Some RPO stuff out to the flat. The RPO, in the turkey hole they used to call it, but right in between the corner and the safety and cover 2 to LJ up the sideline, like that throw right there. Often RPO action, that's some high level stuff. And then Furtney gets involved, the little touch screen on the Y screen there. Some touch throws to the flat, the fade ball. So the variety of the different throws. When you ask that question offensively, and that's where as we continue to grow, as we continue to improve, the exciting thing, and again, who we're becoming, is, okay, you want to load up and you want to cheat the box. Well, good luck, right? Good luck on the perimeter, and teams are going to say, hey, well, we can man these guys up. Well, I think a lot of people have a couple cover guys, but how many cover guys do you got? Because that skill set is pretty deep too. So that's the exciting part to me, in 25 years as an offensive line coach previous to this, and kind of made a living out of finding ways to run the football in loaded boxes. Well, with our throw game, with what Schuster's doing, we'll start to lighten up some boxes here at some point, right?
Yeah.
And people have to pick their poison, and that's the exciting part about it. But it's still, we have to be able to run the football to be who we want to be.
One last point about Grand Valley's offense on Saturday. They tallied 18 plays of 10 yards or more versus Black Hills State, including 8 explosive plays of 20 yards or more. So definitely had those explosives in there. But you don't just win the game with your offense. Your defense hangs in there, makes plays too. Talk about them.
Yeah, and I thought we put our defense in a really, really difficult spot at times, particularly early in the game. And you want to talk about the fast start element of it. I think they jump off sides in the first play, or there's an illegal procedure. Come back, there's a tip pass that they catch for a first down. We get them to third down, and then kid makes a really, really nice play on the sideline that they initially called incomplete.
It was incomplete, Coach.
Yeah, goes to review, and really surprised that one got overturned just based on the angles.
Yeah.
But it gets overturned, and then continue on. But defensively, swell up in the red zone, force the field goal, and then, as I already referenced, we give up the strip sack, put the defense on a short field, and they go score. And so we put the defense in a tough spot a couple times there in the first quarter with the block punt, really short field there as well. But I thought in the second quarter, defensively, we played lights out. So a very similar position to where we were in the week 0 game, where it was, I think, 21-9. Now it's 20-10. Very similar score, very similar game where we really settled in and played outstanding defense in the second quarter. And then in the third quarter, again, defense in a couple bad spots, but and again, we played hard, extremely hard. Their form of protection, cutting to get hands down, sent a couple of those in because they were leg whips, they were trips, and tremendous player safety issue. So extremely frustrated on that end of it. Yeah. So they did a good job slowing down our defensive line, but wish that was within the rules. So defensively, getting put in tough spots, those type of things. But it really came down to, again, just playing smart. There were some leverage issues on the second level that we haven't had in a long time. And then tackling, I thought was very, very excited about our tackling in week 0. And then the missed tackles. They had an explosive play, touchdown, 32-yard touchdown, where we missed a sack and then we missed the guy 3 times. There was 4 broken tackles on one play, right? Yeah. And so that was a consistent theme. I mean, really, we gave up one explosive play, the big 57-yarder, and just an issue in zone coverage. So one other explosive play, we end up getting the ball out. Tommy Barnett makes a great hustle play and rips the ball out. So, when you look at the score and you look at kind of the back and forth action of it, a lot of people defensively, but again, it comes down just to a couple things fundamentally, and again, just playing smart. So we went to work on that, playing smarter. Let's get the ball down in space. We're great at that. Leverage the football, particularly at the second level. And then communication, right? If we're in zone, we're in zone. We're man, we're man. Yeah. Let's get the call and operate.
A couple of standout guys in this game. Josh Anderson played really well for Grand Valley, 8 tackles, tying with Anthony Cardamone, the senior linebacker, had 8 as well, including a sack. And of note for Anthony, he surpassed 200 total tackles in his career. Incredible. So 30 tackles for loss, 15 quarterback sacks, all in his career. So neat milestone for him, over 200. So for that, Andrew Schuster is the offensive player of the week in the conference, and Anthony Cardamone over 200 tackles now in his career. Both guys part of it's the performance of the week. Performances presented by Trinity Health. So the Lakers get it done there in that game over Black Hills State, 48-36. The final score. We'll be back. Going to talk with special teams running backs coach Jacob Studdard next on the GVSU Football Weekly Report on the Grand Valley Sports Network. Now we're back inside the Main Street Pub here in Allendale each and every week. Right here you can join us. Great food. Check out the show. You can also watch the show if you're not here, that is. YouTube, GVSU Lakers. .com. You can check that out. So the Lakers here heading into their third game of the season. Coming up Saturday, they'll be at Pittsburgh State, and that's going to be a 5 o'clock local kickoff. 5 o'clock, the kickoff Saturday at Pittsburgh State. Well, the assistant coach perspective presented by Fast Signs of Grand Rapids, and we've got special teams running backs coach Jacob Studdard with us here tonight. Jacob, good to have you.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me, Steve.
Yeah, so you look back, just get your general thoughts here through a couple of games. A lot of big moments for special teams and opportunities. I know for you guys as coaches, you say, well, I want to see this, opportunity to improve here too. So your thoughts?
Yeah, I'd just say just the inconsistency piece. We got to continue to get back to being consistent on all four teams. And like I said, the last game, I think with Coach Wooster, the giving and taking it away, we gave up a few special teams plays, and then we took it away from them. So just continuing to get the consistency piece down so we can go into a game with no worry and get those adjustments fixed. And I think this week we had a really good week of preparation to be prepared for anything that could be possibly thrown at us coming up here for Pitt State.
Well, you've got a lot of great experience. Let's start in the kicking aspect, punting and field goal kicking and that kind of thing. You have good experience with that, and that's got to feel good, right?
Yep.
To rely on guys like that?
100%. We got some really good specialists. I have 2 all-league punters, and that's what makes my jobs hard. Is like, hey, well, who's going out there? Well, let's go Trace. Well, let's go Evan. And I'm comfortable with both of them. And then with Matt Basic and what he can do, and he's good from 60 when the crowd is on him. So good. We're going to Pitt State and hear that loud crowd. I think that's when he's at his best.
Yeah, well, and that is important. You go on the road like that in an environment when it gets intense. Special teams is often that area where some teams struggle, but you guys have great experience. Mm-hmm. So the return game, kickoff, punt return, that kind of thing, it's nice as well to have the type of talent you do, Kellen Reed and others who can return kicks and have great speed.
Yeah, and our kickoff return game the past few years we've been pretty good. Just the consistency now it's all about finishing our blocks. The return piece, we got the returners, but now it's all the 8 other guys that's on the field, right? Just finishing our blocks, making sure we stand on our man, right? Giving our returners space to crease and hit home runs. As far as punt return, we spent a lot in this offseason on punt block, all right? Just getting off the ball, shin angles, angles to the block point, and we put one on tape. Shimrock got off the ball, got his hand on it, and popped up to Derek Woods and to the end zone. So that was pretty awesome there.
Yeah.
Just what we put preparation into in the spring and the fall, and it's showing up on a Saturday. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, well, it's good to hear how much planning goes into a play like that. I think as fans and media, we watch it and think it just happens.
Yeah.
But you guys are trying to do that throughout the game.
Yep, 100%. Is just what we see on tape, where we think we can get a block at, where we think we can get a return at. All those things is just based off tape study, and we put a plan together and try to execute on a Saturday.
All right, so you also oversee running backs for the Lakers. Jacob Studdard, our guest tonight, in the assistant coach interview, special teams and running backs. This group as a whole, a little bit different styles for each of the guys, but talk about them collectively.
Start off with my bell cow, Sion Uzma-Harper. Been with Sion going into my 3rd season, and last year was unfortunate. He got hurt right before the season, but I've always told Sion, let people know who 2-6 is, and I think went out there against Lincoln and he did just that. Very complete back, able to pick up some protections, run the run that we need him to run, being able to lead block, in a +1 run game and do those things, and then complement him with a Derek Woods, more of a speed back, scat back type of guy. That's probably more your home run hitter. Getting to the second level, he's gone. And then compliment him with like a Kenneth Jones, a guy that also can do everything, more twitchiness, can catch the ball out the backfield pretty well. And then compliment him with a guy like Pascal Joman, another guy that's a complete back, bigger body, that can go put a pad on someone that we can use in the +1 run game as well. And then like a Keller Russell Dixon, a guy that's going to be in the right spot every single time, a guy that I can go out there and trust. So when you talk about, my room, I can throw anyone I'm out there and they can do anything we ask them to do. So I'm very comfortable with playing any of those guys that I have in my room right now.
Well, Coach was talking earlier about how teams through the first couple of weeks, they're challenging your running game, aren't they? Like, hey, we're not going to let you just run on us. We're going to test your quarterback. Well, Andrew Schuster is passing those tests, literally, and he's being able to open up a defense and talk about that in general. I know you don't want to give away specifics, but how do you see that? How do you guys as a collective running back group talk about that?
Yeah, well, first game, I think we ran for some pretty good yards. So when you put that on tape, well, we got good running backs. They can hit some runs. So defenses tend to load the box. Okay, well, now we got a quarterback that can throw the ball pretty well. So we throw an RPO game. Okay, you're going to load the box. Okay, RPO, okay, run. We got the run option. Okay, the run is not there. Now we're able to throw the ball. Now, as a defensive coordinator or whatever, you scheming us up, you don't know what you're going to get. Are we going to get the RPO? Are we going to get the throw? Are we going to get the run? So it's probably be tough for defenses to try to figure us out, but it's good that we're able to do both, protection-wise, and, obviously we got to protect, and, get the ball off, and then obviously being able to run the ball when the ball need to be run.
Yeah, no, doing a great job. Jacob Studdard in charge of special teams and running backs. And speaking of which, coming up next, we're going to have Sion Usma-Harper up here. Touch on him for a moment.
Yeah, Sion is he's a dude, man. He's a really, really, really great leader in our room. And when this season was on his way, and I told him, I want you to be the guy. I want you to be the leader. And he looked at me and said, I got you, coach. And ever since that conversation, he's been a leader, for not just for the room, but for the team as well. Taking care of our young guys when needed, coaching them up, helping me, in some areas. He's the one to come to me, hey, coach, can we do this? Can we do that? Sure. So he's a guy that complimented me, and then I'm glad to coach him, and excited for this season ongoing, because I think he can be very dominant for us and help us win games late in the season.
That's right. A lot expected of your group, and Sion leading the way there. Very good. We'll talk with him next. Well, Jacob, good to have you.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Special teams running backs coach Jacob Studdard, our guest tonight on the assistant coach interview. We'll be back with more of the GVSU Football Weekly Report, brought to you by Berger Chevrolet and the Grand Valley Sports Network.
The Lakers, Derek Woods scoring on the puck block. This pub in Allendale on the Grand Valley Sports Network.
Great to have you along tonight. Our guest player interview segment now, brought to you in part by Radco Apparel. Be proud to show off your brand, and by Flow Sports, where you can watch the GVSU Lakers all season long. The guest player interview, running back Sion Usma Harper, here with the coach, Scott.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Cy, so seems like probably sometimes like just yesterday and then sometimes quite a while ago, but it's fifth year senior, right? Fifth year senior. 26 on the field, number one in our hearts. Let's go all the way back and just the way you play, the way you lead. Coach Stutter talked about your leadership, how you are around the guys. There's a love for the game of football. There's a love for people. But let's talk about the love for the game of football. And your track hasn't been easy,
yes.
Right? Like it's there's been the mountains, there's been some valleys, right? And through some injury and everything else. So to stick through, you love the game. Where did that love start? Where did you start playing? Little league, PAL, all those things. So just where to get started, Si?
It started all when I was 5 years old. My grandfather had me kind of just thrown into the waters. I played for our local kind of like youth football team, and I was playing tight end at the time, and obviously I was just out there in the bucket, some big old pads, scared to hit. I was just out there, and kind of from then and on, I started to just kind of grow fond of the game because my grandfather installed a lot of passion with football into my heart, and then my dad kind of riled that onto me, and my mom was also very supportive at the end of the day too. And so it really all started then and there at my hometown in North Chicago. And my grandfather just started planting some dreams into my heart, like, all right, let's see what it is that you have in store. Is that football, basketball, any other sports? And football stuck with me until now.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. What do you remember what number you wore back then?
48.
48. So, yeah, hey, look,
Yeah.
Little Anthony Cardamone. What was the team's name?
North Chicago Flames.
Okay. North Chicago Flames. Yeah, and like we said, crazy road for you because of COVID and some things.
Yep.
Finished your senior year
in Texas, yes, sir.
Yeah.
That was a journey itself. I used to live in Texas when I was younger too for a couple years. I was bouncing from the Chicagoland area to the Frisco, Texas area quite a bit. And so once I went back to Texas my senior year of high school, it was like a whole total flip because my head coach at my high school in Illinois, Carmel Catholic, and I was originally being recruited by Coach Lewis back in the Chicagoland. Yep. Jason McKee was somebody that I very much looked up to, and I was very thankful to have, as he was my position coach before he became the head coach. And so when I made the decision with my mom to go down to Texas, it was mainly just because I felt the need to try to put myself out there more for exposure. And I knew a lot of people out there from the high school that I went to.
Growing up, yeah.
Yes, sir. So I already knew people that were already down there. So I'm like, let's take this ship over there since there possibly could be no season in Illinois. Yeah. And so that I ended up, same thing, 6 games, just how it was in Illinois. Right. But I got that experience in Texas, and what they say is true. It was
Texas
they didn't care.
High school football.
Yeah, they didn't care about masks. It was bigger lights. It was everything. We playing in the Star. We playing in all these different stadiums, and it was really cool experience to see.
That's awesome. So let's go to the other end, right? We started to talk about where it started, a little bit of that journey, but the next 50. Know you did an internship this summer.
Yes.
Kind of a professional football player right now. You set yourself up for success. Couple classes left, right? Mm-hmm. Graduate in December.
Yes, sir.
What's the next 50 look like? What are you planning on doing?
So as long as I can take football to the fullest, I do want to try to play at the next level. But if that isn't in the plan that God has in store for me, I want to become either sports psychologist or a coach myself. I could see myself coaching the position I play currently. And I don't know, I've always it kind of came in 2023 when I started to come toward the end of my junior year. I became more fond with the mental kind of like game of prep, and knowing that athletes we all experience some sort of mental battle before games and even during practice or even outside of the field. And it's something in that regard that I want to help athletes kind of be able to navigate through when it comes to the obstacles, because it's not easy as an athlete, especially battling the mental. And so I do know I want to be a sports psychologist once I grow older, and also a coach.
Awesome. Awesome. No, and you got some experience with some coaching little kids this summer, right?
Yes, sir.
That's awesome. Awesome. Well, Coach Studdard mentioned it, the leadership that you provided. And you've always been that guy that people just, there's a magnetic quality about you, about just who you are as a person, and very attractive personality and a huge heart. But this year has been different, right?
Yeah.
And, senior year, there's no question about that. But there's another element that I see in you, and we were just talking about it a second ago, that the spiritual leader part of it, right?
Yes.
And athletes in action. There's some things going on around campus of all the craziness that you're hearing about right now, social media news, everything else, all the evil. There's a lot of good in this world, right? And
yes,
you
indeed.
bring a lot of the good to our football team. So just talk a little bit maybe about your leadership in the spiritual realm with our football team and with our athletic department.
I'd say when it comes down to faith, it's for sure something that I've had to kind of walk gradually into, because it's kind of difficult to try to seek it like immediately and expect something out of it immediately, because it takes a lot of patience to understand kind of like what journey that we all have and what purpose we all have on this earth. And so I kind of look at it from the aspect, like, especially in our position room, I really like taking the standpoint of being there for guys, whether that is on or off the field, and also just kind of having that mindset, like, how can I be there, like listening or with my voice or with encouragement, or just having that presence there for them, because not everybody needs a sense of like, all right, you got to say this, that, and the third for them to understand, but sometimes they just need that presence. And so I felt God kind of works so much, especially like with athletes in action. A lot of the guys on our team now are kind of expressing like, okay, like their faith in Jesus, and just how much they're looking at God as in the perspective of how much He's been carrying them, how much He's been kind of molding them into the men and the athletes that they're bound to become. I kind of think about RJ and Josh and, the twins. They are huge on kind of bringing that into their room. And so even in our room, I think of Jaws and even Kellen and Derek and Pascal. Everybody's got some sort of like faith, religious background, and we're all just able to kind of speak on very hard and tough subjects and topics when it comes to football, or even when it comes to life itself. And so I thank God a lot, because I think God gives us that opportunity to be vulnerable with each other and allow us to be aligned with each other on top of that, and not have that mindset of, oh yeah, we have a starter, or oh, we have a second guy, but all of us could get and eat that same way because we all share something valuable to the team. And so that's one thing, like, I'm very thankful for, that God's been showcasing in our room specifically, and even with athletes in action and our team.
Yep. Awesome, man. Well, so you've had the harder road, right?
Yeah.
And God's been there through it with you, and I love you, man. Can't wait to roll through this senior year and then see what the next 50
Yes, sir.
presents.
Love you too, Coach.
Yes, sir.
All right, great to have Sion Usma-Harper with us here tonight as our player interview for you. When we come back, Scott and I will break down the game Saturday coming up 5 o'clock, the kick at Pittsburgh State. This is the GVSU Football Weekly Report on the Grand Valley Sports Network. We'll be right back.
Sports Network.
Well, let's talk about who Grand Valley is going to play next. The upcoming opponent preview for you, brought to you in part by Matrix Basement Finishing, as the Lakers on the road for the first time this year at Pittsburgh State. Pittsburgh, Kansas, the Gorillas. You're going into the jungle here, Coach.
Into the jungle. No, it's, again, what we talked about in the open, exciting. Again, jumped on this opportunity because all the things we talked about, number one wins, number one winning percentage. But to get this atmosphere, to get this type of game early in the season, you can't put a price tag on that, right? Who we're going to play in the league, growth, a lot of work to do, but the playoffs, all those things, and that's what this atmosphere is, and particularly this week with Pitt State, because they are not an 0-2 football team. I said, they are a great football team, but their backs are against the wall, right? They're backed in the corner 0-2, so it is a playoff game for them, right? So all those reasons, going to be 90 degrees, 65% humidity. We were unseasonably hot in June. Well, now it's unseasonably cool here in Michigan, so to be able to prepare for all those different things, right?
Well, how'd you get ready? Talk about that.
Yeah, and I think part of that is trying to acclimate the best we can, but the temps are the temps, but trying to get ready from get the tortilla chips and the pretzels in every meeting room, trying to do some
salt.
Some hydration. What do they call them now? I don't want to put the ad out for Liquid IV, but I guess I will, right? Some of that stuff. We got the Gatorade machine, water, just trying to make sure, hydration. A lot of times guys think, well, I'll drink water the night before, the day of, but that's a week-long process, right? Getting our bodies. You don't have to get ready if you stay ready. We talk about that all the time in our preparation, but in our recovery as well. So the nutrition, sleep, hydration piece of it, getting on a flight, going into a humid environment. So, there's a lot of different things that play here that make this an incredible challenge, but an awesome opportunity.
Yeah, inside the Kelly Family Sports Center, you've got up in the temperature and trying to get ready for things and all of that. Talk about, that's the physical side. You just were mentioning how you're going into a talented football team's home field, their home opener. They're 0-2. They're desperate. Emotionally, how do you get ready for that?
No, and I think, again, you don't have to get ready if you stay ready, and that's been a big piece of how we're trying to prepare, right? Our discipline equals freedom piece of it, of week 0, week 1, week 2. But, yes, we're used to playing in an electric. Again, shout out to the Laker Nation, over 13,000 there last Saturday night. It was awesome. Great environment, but they're typically quiet when we need to communicate and loud when the other team needs to, right? And now we're going to flip that. And with their band playing right behind, and we'll see NCAA and MIAA rules. Supposed to cease that band, but we'll see how that goes, right? And they got that band mic'd up, so it is loud in there. So something that maybe we're not, really accustomed to. Played Harding a couple years ago. That was a great environment. Mm-hmm. But to go on the road and play in that environment, so to prepare for that too, right? But again, if your preparation's your preparation and you believe in that preparation, it shouldn't change from week to week to week. But yeah, we've got competitors, and this is why you come to Grand Valley State, is to play in these games. So it probably cranks up just a little bit, and I thought we had an awesome week of prep, and our scout teams too. I haven't said this yet, but I need to say this, to our listening audience, and if there's any moms and dads of our red-shirted guys right now, they have been exceptional. The maturity, but prepping our guys, and we had a great week from our scout teams this week. And then we got a couple of our GAs and a couple coaches, Coach Ryan Howe, all working with the scout special teams, and then Tyler Smelticott, Stevie Roncelli working with our O&D special team. Our O&D scout teams have really led to a great week of preparation.
Grand Valley at Pittsburgh State, Saturday, 5 o'clock Eastern will be the kick. Quarterback Jackson Berry, the redshirt senior leading the Gorillas. And for him, transfer from Southern Utah, who's talented, can throw and run very well. Wide out Karan Parchman, kind of their big player by way of wide out on offense. Safety Jordan Rogers, one of their standout defensive players. He's the leading tackler for them, and a guy who's already picked off a couple of passes. So they have talent all over the place.
All over the place. And, you talked about quarterback has played in two tough environments already, right?
Yeah.
Now he gets to come home. Running back, we talked about our running backs and our depth at running back. You see that they're playing multiple extremely talented running backs, big physical offensive line, probably 6-7 deep on the defensive line, and it doesn't drop off. And as you look at it, and you just mentioned defensive backs, some quality cover guys, some outstanding players back there, wide receivers, tight end, a couple tight ends. They're built very similar. Like we're very similar football programs, right? And you look at them and looking to establish a run, play action pass, explosive. Then they got some they can pass with some efficiency, and then defensively, it's difficult to run the ball against them, right? They're going to line up in a 4-2-5, but getting that bare front, multiple fronts, and then a variety of coverages. So built very, very similar to us. You can tell they want to establish the line of scrimmage, both on the offense and defense side of the football, run the ball, stop the run. Again, great coaches. The defensive staff, we saw them in 2023, new head coach, but just unbelievable respect for what they do and how they do it as well. And I don't know Coach Anthony personally yet, but actually he texts me right when we're getting on the show here, and anything you need, let me know. So just I think we're very, very similar programs. We're very, very similar culturally, like you said, the talent-wise and all those things. So that just adds to why this is such an awesome opportunity for us to get down there and play.
Yeah, it's just neat how it developed because, like you say, it kind of was spontaneous as you had different regions now for your programs. So now you can do this, and it's great you can have a matchup like that where both teams are excited about it, and it's not necessarily as effective on the schedule or potential playoffs when you're in separate regions.
Well, yeah, for sure, that part. And we want in region is really, really important in the playoffs. Two things. One, the MIAA was a lot conference a few years ago. They didn't have any non-leagues. They lost some membership, so now they have this opportunity. Week 0 gives them some flexibility as well. But mad respect to Coach Anthony and Pittsburgh State, because we've talked about the challenges scheduling-wise.
Yes.
And to pick up the phone and say, yeah, let's do this, right? And with number 1 in the country, with number 3 in the country, right, with that schedule, and what they're going to go play in the MIAA, right? We're talking to a bunch of other programs in the top 10, in the top 25 that wouldn't even answer the phone. So, again, I can't express the excitement and what an awesome opportunity to play because, like I said, I think they're wired very similarly to us, right? And, yeah. So I'll just leave it at that because we won't go the other route. We'll keep it positive with Pitt State because it's really cool to see football coached and operated in this manner, the way they do it, and to see them have the success that they have historically.
Well, we're going to get the Berger Chevrolet key to the win from Coach coming up next as we wrap things up on the Grand Valley Sports Network. Back one more time. The Berger Chevrolet key to the win, where Coach is going to give us the biggest factor to determine this week's victory. Coach?
No, I said it already, but this is why you come to Grand Valley State, right? This is why guys go to Pitt State to play in games just like this. To me, it's the team that controls the controllables, right? But compete.
Yeah.
Take advantage of an awesome, awesome opportunity against an awesome football team and an awesome football program.
Yeah, going to be fun. Saturday, 5 o'clock, the kickoff at Pittsburgh State across the network for you at 3:30. We'll have the call. Our thanks tonight to Jacob Studdard and also to Sion Usma-Harper, the running back for the Lakers. For head coach Scott Wooster, I'm Steve Lloyd-Jones. Thanks for listening tonight on the Grand Valley Sports Network. So long, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the GVSU